Jocelyn, I cannot run. I'm a knight, and I will put myself to the hazard.
William, I love you. And I'm sorry, but I won't see you led away bound for the stocks.
Oh, but you will see me run? No!
Damn your pride, William. It is you and only you that will not see you run.
My pride is the only thing they can't take from me.
They can take it from you. They can and they will. Oh, they will. But love they cannot take. The poor can marry for love.
Oh, Jocelyn, you speak of what you do not know.
William, I beg you. Please. Run. Do it for love.
Run, William.
No! I will not run! I miss you. Oh, hold, was that wrong?
Well, it's up to you, really. It's your funeral. I mean, let her.
Say something about her breasts.
Yeah, you miss her breasts.
Her breasts.
In 14th century Europe, jousting had become the hottest sport, loved by everyone from lords to farmers, even though only knights could officially compete. One day, young assistants William, Roland, and Wat find their boss Sir Ector dead after taking some hits during a jousting match. This is terrible news because it leaves them jobless, and they haven't eaten in 3 days, so they're desperate for cash. The tournament organizers still don't know Ector is dead, which sparks an idea in William's mind. He'll pretend to be Ector and finish the competition. He's always dreamed of being a jousting knight, and he's helped Ector train before, so he knows how to fight. By keeping his helmet on, nobody will know it's not Ector. Roland isn't thrilled with the idea at first, but he and Wat decide to go along with it and see what happens. During the tournament, William shocks everyone with a smooth victory, winning a fancy gold feather as the top prize. Later, the 3 friends sell the feather and split the money evenly. But then, William has a new thought and takes the money back, leaving his friends with just 1 coin each. He believes they can keep up the act and become champions, so the money should be used to buy better equipment to win even more. Roland and Wat are angry and even fight William to get their money back, but William doesn't give in and eventually convinces them to help him. The 3 buy new gear and spend the time before the next tournament practicing hard until William is hitting every target. A month later, they're traveling to the closest competition when they stumble upon a naked man. It's the famous writer Geoffrey Chaucer, who was recently robbed. William introduces himself as Sir Ulrich, but Geoffrey sees through his disguise and offers a deal. If they share some food and clothes, he'll create a fake noble title that William can use to enter the next tournament. The 3 are unsure about trusting Geoffrey, but they don't have much choice, so they agree, with Wat warning Geoffrey not to betray them. When they get to town, they're relieved to see the fake title works, and William hires Geoffrey as his announcer. While waiting for his turn, William sees Lady Jocelyn in the crowd and instantly falls for her. Wanting to talk to her, he follows her around, but she won't tell him her name. William is eventually kicked out when Jocelyn goes into a church, and he tries to follow her on his horse. Afterward, William easily wins his first match, but he's starting to worry about his armor. Suddenly, he's stopped by the local gambling bosses, who tell him he owes them money for his employee. It turns out Geoffrey was never robbed. He's a gambler and will be in trouble if William doesn't pay. Ignoring Wat's anger, William tells the men to leave Geoffrey alone, promising to pay after winning the tournament. William also enters the sword fights, winning those 2, and letting Geoffrey promote him to the crowd. William's skill is obvious, and he wins the sword competition, so now he can go back to jousting. He's winning there as well, but his armor is getting damaged, and no blacksmith will fix it without payment. Not even blacksmith Kate will help, but William, knowing what people say about female blacksmiths, tricks her into fixing his armor by suggesting the other blacksmiths think she can't do it because she's a girl. Among the people watching the jousting are Jocelyn and her friend Christiana, and they're approached by jousting champion Count Edhemer, who also likes Jocelyn. After bragging about his army fighting in France, and how he's never been knocked off his horse, Edhemer explains the jousting rules to Jocelyn, pointing out how different hits are worth different points. Their conversation is interrupted by William, who comes to talk to Jocelyn and impress her with a poem Geoffrey taught him. Unfortunately, Edhemer embarrasses him in front of everyone, so William leaves feeling ashamed. Before the next match, Geoffrey introduces William with a lot of hype, making up stories about his heroic deeds. William fights well, but Edhemer tells Jocelyn that he has no style or technique, though he admits that not protecting his eyes makes him fearless. William's opponent is hurt and knows he's already lost, but he's never quit a match before and wants to finish with honor. Feeling sorry for him, William agrees, and their final round is a tie on purpose. The opponent withdraws, and William moves on. Edhemer thinks not finishing his opponent makes William weak, but Jocelyn sees it as a great act of kindness. Later that night, Edhemer sends Jocelyn a message saying he'll win the tournament for her, but she doesn't care because she knows he wins for himself and prefers quiet women. She's more impressed that William is the only knight who hasn't promised to win for her, so maybe she'll let him win her heart. The next day, Jocelyn sends her scarf to William as a good luck charm, and even lets Christiana finally tell him her name. William's final match is against Edhemer, and while he starts by winning the most points, Edhemer decides to finish him by taking advantage of William's unprotected face and hits him on the head, knocking him out. While unconscious, William remembers when he was a little kid watching knights and dreaming of becoming one. Most folks thought it was a pipe dream for a commoner, but his dad, John, always told him to chase his dreams. When William wakes up, he sees Edhemer grabbing Jocelyn's scarf, and, before returning it, he dares William to find him later, after some serious training. William did win the sword tournament, which means he gets a nice prize that lets him pay off the gamblers and Kate. Speaking of Kate, she notices William's been wearing ill-fitting armor and offers to make him a custom suit if they take her to Paris. William declines, itching to leave, but Christiana appears, saying Jocelyn wants him at the party and will wear colors matching his. This makes William do a quick about-face, and after saying he'll wear green, the group gets to work. Roland will handle William's clothes while Geoffrey teaches him to dance. The lessons aren't going well, so when Kate finds them arguing, William apologizes and asks her for better instruction. At the banquet, William gets to chat with Jocelyn and recite more poems. Edhemer tries to put him down again, hinting he dances like a country bumpkin, but William shows off his moves and fits right into the party, leaving Edhemer fuming. The next day, Kate has a custom-made suit of armor ready, complete with her own stamp. William's worried because it looks too light and small, but Kate explains she's discovered a new way to heat metal, making the armor lighter, but just as strong. The guys are skeptical until they test it, and they're amazed when William barely feels a hit. A week later, William enters another tournament. People snicker at his skinny armor, but he quickly shuts them up by winning his first match. Jocelyn's watching, and Edhemer's also there to compete, but he backs out when he finds out his opponent is Prince Edward in disguise. Geoffrey hears about this and tells William to withdraw too, to avoid trouble with the king, but William sees how bummed Edward is that no one will fight him and decides to go ahead. Between rounds, William tells Edward he knows who he is, and Edward's impressed he'd still ride against royalty. William wins the tournament, but he's in a foul mood because he didn't get to face Edhemer. So, when Jocelyn invites him to the banquet, he snaps at her, making her think he's a jerk. Weeks pass, and William keeps winning tournaments everywhere, but he still can't face Edhemer because he's off fighting in the Battle of Poitiers. Even in the war, Edhemer asks for updates on the tournaments, getting angrier every time he hears William's winning. A month goes by without seeing Jocelyn, so William writes her a letter to try and win her back. He's not great with words, so Geoffrey fills it with his own poetry and the feelings their friends have about their past loves. Wat delivers the letter to Jocelyn, who's moved to tears by the sweet words. The next day, Wat's back with a message from Jocelyn. She'll come to Paris to watch him joust, and she sends him a light kiss for luck. Later, Geoffrey figures that since Edhemer's skipping this tournament too, they should bet on William. Meanwhile, William meets with Jocelyn at the local church. But Jocelyn's quickly disappointed. She was expecting more poetry, and instead, William just says he'll win the tournament for her, like every other night. Fed up with the act, Jocelyn gives him an ultimatum. If he truly loves her, he has to lose for her. Furious, William storms out of the church, refusing to be a loser. However, when the tournament starts, he changes his mind and starts losing on purpose. His friends are freaking out, thinking he's lost it over a girl and worrying about their bets, but William ignores them. Luckily, his stubbornness pays off. Jocelyn finally believes he loves her, and between matches, she sends Christiana to tell him to win for her. William does just that, earning Geoffrey a bag of coins from his bets. That evening, Jocelyn visits William in his tent after he misses the banquet because he's hurt. She admits she knows his real name. Christiana overheard his friends, but promises she doesn't care where he's from, and they spend the night together. A few days later, the group heads to London for the World Championship. Most of them haven't been home for a few months, maybe a couple of years, but for William, it's been 12 long years. He remembers the last day like it was yesterday. He was just a kid, and John brought him to Ector to be his squire, willing to let go of his son, so he could have a better life. William was scared he'd forget how to get home, but John promised he just had to follow his feet. During the tournament opening, William marches with the other knights, soaking up the cheers, even seeing himself in the kids chanting his name. Jocelyn's there to watch him joust, of course, and Edhemer's finally back in the game. He promises to beat William without mercy and win Jocelyn, claiming he's already talking to her dad about marriage. After winning all his first-day matches, William visits his old neighborhood. With the help of a young fan, he finds his dad, who's now blind.
Someone there? If you're here for the net, I haven't finished yet. Come back tomorrow.
A knight. My name is Ulrich.
Ulrich. I hear that name being chanted from the stadium. What business have you here?
I have word, Master Thatcher. Word of your son.
What word? Does he live?
Aye, he lives.
And has he followed his feet?
Yes.
Oh, my boy!
After a hug and some tears, father and son catch up over drinks, unaware that Edhemer's been following William and is now watching them from a distance. The next morning, as William gets ready for the tournament, Jocelyn and Geoffrey bring bad news. Edhemer knows his real identity and is waiting with royal guards to arrest him in front of everyone. His friends want him to run, and Jocelyn agrees, saying she'd be happy living in poverty as long as they're together. But William refuses to let them take his pride and decides to stay, marching with his head held high and his friends by his side into the arena. As expected, William's immediately arrested and thrown in jail. Edhemer comes by to gloat, hitting William and making fun of him. Later, William's on the guillotine, and his friends try to shield him from the angry crowd throwing stuff at them. Suddenly, Prince Edward steps in, calling William a true knight because of his mercy and honor. He orders William released and explains his historians have discovered William's descended from an old noble family, and he knights him right there, officially making him Sir William. The tournament continues, with the prince and princess watching, but Jocelyn's nowhere to be seen. The final match is William versus Edhemer, but it starts badly. Edhemer's a cheating jerk who uses an illegal lance to stab William in the shoulder. Now William's hurt and can barely hold his lance, giving Edhemer a big lead. Edhemer keeps taunting him, but William's spirits lift when he sees Jocelyn arrive with John. Desperate to win, William ditches his armor to breathe easier and asks what to tie the lance to his arm. Before the final run, Geoffrey realizes he forgot the intro and gives one last speech, reminding everyone that today, a commoner will beat a noble. Because of the score difference, William has only one way to win: unhorse Edhemer. It's the toughest move in jousting, but William's determined, and he rides, screaming his real name as he hits Edhemer with his lance. His technique works, and Edhemer falls, making William the world champion. As John cries tears of joy, and Jocelyn meets William in the arena for a celebratory kiss, Geoffrey decides to write about William's rise to knighthood. And so, Sir William, the boy who once dreamed of knights, became one himself. His journey wasn't just about jousting and winning. It was about courage, loyalty, and the power of believing in yourself, even when everyone else tells you it's impossible. He taught us that bloodlines don't define nobility, actions do. William's story reminds us that kindness and honor are just as important as skill and strength. He showed us that love can inspire us to do great things, and that true friends are worth more than any prize. From stable boy to champion, William's tale echoes through time, a reminder that even the most far-fetched dreams, the kind whispered in childhood and tucked away in the heart, can come true with enough heart, grit, and maybe a little help from a good poet. So, what dream, the one you held tight as a child, are you going to chase today? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and thanks for watching.